No, either CSK got influenced and were too blown away by what had happened on the first 2 days of the tournament, where RCB and MI obviously chased down 200 plus scores with relative ease. It was one of the balls of the tournament. At the end of the tournament, I would love to see if there are any more deliveries like that. But this might have been one of those surfaces in which he might have come into his own thanks to his razor sharp assessment. And he used to assess pitches well. He used to assess what the bowlers needed to do very well. Sooryavanshi needs to be pulled out of junior cricket now and be made to feature in all the senior matches. I'm not talking about the Indian national team. What I also enjoyed seeing was the nature of the Mulanpur pitch. I thought it was the best on offer so far this season. The other bowler who caught the eye was Ashok Sharma, and he went for a few runs in the first couple of overs. But even that was after he seemed to have been instructed. And that might have even turned the match around for a bit for the Gujarat Titans. In an interview that Chennai Super Kings coach Michael Hussey gave during the third IPL 2026 match against the Rajasthan Royals, he claimed that his side, prided themselves in assessing the match conditions quite well. And based on that, deciding on what's best possible in terms of scoring for their team. He did admit at that time that they hadn't done a good job during the match. And I think at that time, CSK were about 3 or 4 wickets down at that stage. And I think that that's where the Super Kings seem to have messed up in their IPL 2026 opener. Historically, the pitches at the Barsapra Stadium in Guwahati haven't been the most batting friendly in especially IPL cricket, with no team having gotten to 200 so far. And we're talking about a small sample size of about 6 or 7 matches. And they've been hosting IPL games since 2023, which is also around the time from where the scoring has gotten so rapid in IPL cricket that this is a bit of both a surprise and a cautionary tale for teams to take a little longer to assess what could constitute a safe total on that pitch. Now, either CSK got influenced and were too blown away by what had happened on the first 2 days of the tournament, where RCB and MI obviously chased down 200 plus scores with relative ease, or they got their reading of the pitch woefully wrong. And it was quite bad because the kind of shots that the top order attempted gave the impression that they were aiming for a lot higher than they finally got. Now, fair play to Sanju Samson. He got a ripper of a ball from Nandre Berger, one that jagged away from the left hammer. But and probably it was one of the balls of the tournament. At the end of the tournament, I would love to see if there are any more deliveries like that. But the way Rituraj Gaikwad got out, the manner in which Ayush Matre got into that strange position, and then for Matt Short to lob a catch to the infielder of one that seemed to have stopped on him, did nothing to suggest that CSK had read the pitch well. Now, dare I say that CSK don't miss MSD's batting too much these days, but this might have been one of those surfaces in which he might have come into his own thanks to his razor sharp assessment. And he used to assess pitches well. He used to assess what the bowlers needed to do very well, which is why the Chahal Kuldeep combination did very well when he was the keeper. And he would have made tweaks to his own batting to be able to bat through the innings. He might not have scored a lot of runs, but he could have probably held one end up. Now, proving this point even further was the batting of Yashasvi Jaiswal. Now, that innings was a match-winning innings in the end. He remained unbeaten on 38, but he took 36 balls to score those runs, and he guided Rajasthan to a win. And that's even when the chase was all but done, because in the first 6 overs, you knew that the chase was done. The batsman at the other end, Vaibhav Sooryavanshi, had gotten going. And a score of 160 or even 150 might have been a way tougher one than what they eventually got. Which brings us to the reason why Rajasthan Royals scored those runs, that chase of only 12 overs or something, thanks to that young boy by the name of Vaibhav Sooryavanshi. Now, I've said this in the past too. Sooryavanshi needs to be pulled out of junior cricket now and be made to feature in all the senior matches. I'm not talking about the Indian national team, but I'm talking about, say, being a regular feature in the Ranji Trophy, which he was, Vijay Hazare, Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy, and even the India A games. His 17 ball 52 on what was otherwise, as I said, a very challenging pitch was stuff that dreams are made of. Now, I know that Sooryavanshi has been batting in this manner for a while now, but what was different here were the conditions. Now, it is one thing to bat in flat conditions, flat pitches, but this was a two-paced pitch throughout the match, and playing your shots wasn't as straightforward as Sooryavanshi made it out to be. If people weren't talking about him so far, which is obviously not the case, all eyes would definitely have been on him by now. Can we expect a 500 run, 180 strike rate kind of a season from him? Pressure? What pressure? So let me know what you think about this. And now moving on to the next game, which was between Punjab Kings and Gujarat Titans. Now, Punjab Kings got off to a winning start in the fourth match of the season when they edged out Gujarat Titans in what turned out to be a great debut for Cooper Connolly. Like Cameron Green, Connolly might not be bowling anytime soon, but unlike his Aussie teammate, he made most of his batting opportunity. In fact, the youngster looked to have outbatted most of his illustrious teammates and opponents in the game, mixing aggression with the kind of maturity that you usually see, not really for a 22-year-old, but more importantly, you see somebody who's played a lot of matches, who's played in a lot of franchise cricket. Now, obviously, Connolly has played in the Big Bash League, but this was kind of what you associate with someone with a lot of experience. And other than Connolly's batting, what I also enjoyed seeing was the nature of the Mulanpur pitch. I thought it was the best on offer so far this season, and it also left us with one of those close finishes. All the sum of it was down to how Punjab collapsed during the second half of the innings. For us 90s kids who have seen India collapse, or for any era's kids who have seen Pakistan collapse, this Punjab chase would have reminded you of exactly that, if I may say that. But on a serious note, speaking of the surface again, it did look like Gujarat Titans had left some runs on the table when they were restricted to 162 from their 20 overs, but not too much, like 10 to 15 to 20 runs. It by no stretch was this a 200 gets chased down in 15 overs kind of a surface as you saw in the Bangalore match at M Chinnaswamy. And that meant that Gujarat were able to mount a late challenge to their opposition through Prasidh Krishna, who came in late to bowl and bagged 3 wickets. Now, speaking of Krishna, it was surprised to see him getting introduced that late in the attack. He came on to bowl in the 13th over, almost like Gujarat had gone into the match with a pre-planned tactic. We will have Krishna bowling those last 4 overs, and they refused to change it despite not having scored too many. Or probably they thought they have a lot of runs, but given the way they started, their opposition started, I thought it required for Prasidh Krishna to come in at least for an over immediately after the power play was done. The other bowler who caught the eye was Ashok Sharma, and he went for a few runs in the first couple of overs. But even that was after he seemed to have been instructed by his captain, Shubman Gill, to bounce out the batter, Shreyas Iyer, who then hooked him for a couple of sixes. Those were deliveries that might have troubled him at another stage of his career, but Iyer seems to have gotten better with playing the short ball. Now, Ashok came back with an impressive 18th over when the pressure was on, and he conceded just 5 in that. And what stood out was, other than bowling bouncers at 145 clicks, and we have heard of Ashok Sharma having the tendency to bowl even at 150 at times, he also showed his variety by sending down a variety of slower balls, including one at 109 clicks off the back of the hand, a la Venkatesh Prasad, again a reference to the 90s kids, to take the wicket of Marco Hansen. And that might have even turned the match around for a bit for the Gujarat Titans. Now, this was how these two matches went. I would love for you to give me comments, and if you like following cricket, please do subscribe to this channel for more of such cricketing views and reviews.